Hello and good morning, Year 7. So, this is a very important lesson because today we are going to talk all about your assessment. So, in week 9, we are going to have an assessment on the bone sparrow. And we are going to be writing an essay in response to a question. Now, this is the first time that you have written an essay at Plenty Valley, and the first time you would have done an essay with an unknown question as well. So I'm going to talk to you today about the task, and I'm going to work down this task sheet, which I've popped on Sector for you, so you can download this and put it onto your computer. If you want to, you could open it up now and highlight certain sections, or you could just listen really well to me today, and you can always come back to this video when you've got the sheet and highlight it. I would recommend listening to this again, maybe for homework. So your assessment is writing an essay in response to a question. So this is the task sheet that you'll be given on the day, where you put your name, 7B, and circle my name. And just to let you know what you're allowed to bring in. So on the day, you can bring in one A4 page of handwritten notes. That's one-sided. Okay, this will include dot points and quotes, but you can't write full paragraphs. Now, this actual A4 page that you're going to write, this is going to be full of all the quotes that you've been getting from the chapters that have anything to do with friendship, hope, and social responsibility. They're the 3 themes that we're looking at. It could be quotes, it could be events that happen, characters. So that way, when you come into the essay, you've got a full page of handwritten notes, one-sided, that you can refer to. Because remember, you cannot bring in your novel. I will repeat, you cannot bring in your novel to this essay, only that one page, which is what I'm going to be getting you to start working on in week 8. So you will have 15 minutes planning time in the lesson, and then a further 75 minutes to write the essay. So actually, this is a double period, 90 minutes, an hour and a half, where you will be given the question, you can plan, and then you're going to write it, and that will be submitted to the teacher in the room. Now, just so you know, you will be given actually 2 questions to choose from, and it will look a bit like this. Write an essay response to one of the following questions, and I'm not going to tell you what the questions are because we're not allowed to tell you till the day, but it would say something like this. The bone sparrow explores this sort of issue, discuss. The bone sparrow shows us that, etc., discuss. So it's going to have a discussion about the book and how does it explore one of the themes. Now remember, the themes are hope, friendship, and social responsibility. So to give you a clue, these 2 questions will be about 1 or 2 of those themes, okay? It won't be about all the 3 themes, it'll be 1 or 2 of them. So making sure that you actually learn about all the themes and you get to choose just one of the questions. This is your rubric, okay? And I'm going to take a moment to go through this with you now. So when I mark your work, okay, these are the things that I'm looking for. Now, as you will see here, there are 4 sections. So the first section here is evidence, and I will read it for you. Evidence. Embeds. So embeds is it includes well, okay? So it embeds a range of textual evidence from the novel, including quotes and references to key scenes. So what you've done is you've actually got a range of different evidence from quotes and events, and you've actually embedded it inside. So rather than just giving me a quote, you've actually put it into a paragraph and explained why it is relevant to your essay. You explained the significance of the quote or the character or event that you're talking about. And as you can see here, a rating from 5 down to 1, or if it's not shown at all. And what we're looking for at the best level is this. Direct quotes from the book have been used to strengthen and build the arguments put forward and embedded into the argument. So what we're going to be looking for is actually quotes with quotation marks, but rather than having it sitting alone, it will actually be sitting within a paragraph where you would actually explain its significance to your argument. And we will talk about examples of that next week on how to write a good paragraph. Okay, this is the second thing we're marking you on, knowledge of the text. So knowledge of Bone Sparrow. The student comprehends the themes, characters, setting, and plot of the text. And this is here where we actually see that connections to characters, setting, and plot are detailed and show a thorough understanding of the text. Okay, so you're not just telling me, oh, there was someone in the book called Subi and he lived here. Yes, that's true, but you're going into details and you're talking about the setting, the plot, so what happens throughout, so I can see you really understand the novel. The third thing that I will mark you on is your structure of your essay. So I want to see that you understand and implement a clear introduction, body paragraphs, using the Teal structure. Now we're actually going to remove the conclusion. Lucky you guys. Because this is your first essay, we're actually going to ask you just for one introduction and 3 body paragraphs. We're not going to ask for a conclusion. Okay, so that's going to make it easier. We're going to talk about the Teal structure in one of our next lessons, okay? And that is, quickly to let you know, it is the topic, it is the evidence, it's an example, okay, and it's a link to the next paragraph. And finally, the punctuation, spelling, and grammar. This is the mechanics of language. This is a really good opportunity to let you know that you've actually got one other assessment coming up next Tuesday, and it's got nothing to do with Bone Sparrow, but it will be on Education Perfect, and it will be about punctuation, spelling, and grammar. Now, I have allocated on Education Perfect a range of activities for you to do. I would like you to work on them when you have any free time in this lesson, and I would like you to focus on that each night of the coming few days for your homework to prepare for Tuesday's assessment on your punctuation, spelling, and grammar. That was a little aside, but I thought I would mention that now. For this assessment, for the Bone Sparrow, where I'm going to be checking that you've got an effective use of punctuation, spelling, and grammar, fluent writing with sophisticated language choices. And so what I'd be looking for at the highest level here is combine sophisticated language with grammar, spelling, and punctuation elements to create a logical and clear piece of writing. Okay, now we are going to talk about what the step-by-step is to write an essay. So when you write the essay, you will first of all read the questions. You will be given 2 questions to choose from. You will need to choose one question. Once you've chosen that one question, class, I would suggest that should take you no more than a minute or 2. You read the questions, then read them both and go, this is the question I want to go with. Once you've chosen that after a minute or 2, highlight the key terms. So I'm going to show you how to do that in the next lesson that we're doing today, where I talk about how to write an introduction. But you highlight the key terms in the question to help you decide what you might want to argue. And when you do that, you're then going to think about, what's a different way of saying that? What are some synonyms that I could use? What are some other words that relate to the key terms? Because I don't want you to write the question again in your introduction. You're going to write it in your own words, the question. So if the question is something like, how does the Bone Sparrow show that friendship is one of the most important things in life? If that's the question, don't just repeat, it's one of the most important things in life. You could use a different word like friendship is significant or friendship is valuable. So I'm using synonyms to use those key terms, but I'm thinking of different words. And I'm actually going to put that here. Okay. The next thing you do is come up with your contention. Now, contention is just a big word for your big argument, okay? Your biggest point, what you're actually and it's actually the answer to the question. Okay, so the question that's been asked, it's your answer, it's your big argument that you're saying. So, for example, with that example, when I said, how does Bone Sparrow show that friendship is the most important thing? Your contention might be friendship is significant, and this is why. And so that would be your contention, to say, yep, I agree, it is. And then you start to say why. So what you need to do is then brainstorm reasons to support your contention. I would suggest you might come up with 5 to 6, maybe even up to 8 different ideas of brainstorming. Why is this correct? Oh, friendship is most important because it helps us be happy. It means that we've got someone there if we're sick or if we need to borrow money. Friends are there to keep us safe. Friends are there to make us laugh. Friends are there to help us learn. So I've got a bunch of different arguments based off that contention. Now, these arguments also need to relate to the novel. So, for example, I know friendship is important in the novel because Subi saved Jimmy. And so Jimmy needed Subi in her life, otherwise she could have died. We also know that Subi helped Jimmy read, and that helped her connect with her mum. That's why friendship was important for them. That was another example, okay? Then we want you to plan. This is when you plan your structure. So what you're going to do is take about 15 minutes. So all of this section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you should really try and do all of this in 15 minutes, okay? So the longest part would be the brainstorming and the planning for that planning section. Okay, so what order are you going to put the arguments? What are the 3 arguments that are most important? And what evidence have you got? This is when you start going to your page of notes that you've come in with and start highlighting the quotes that you think, I'm going to use this quote and I'm going to use that piece of evidence. I'm going to talk about this character or I'm going to talk about that event. So that's the time when you start planning that and you write them down on a piece of paper. Then, once you've got the plan, you start writing your essay. And when you write the essay, which I'm going to teach you how to do in the next lesson, you're going to include an introduction, okay? And you're also going to have 3 body paragraphs, which are your 3 supporting arguments to support your contention. We're not going to worry about a conclusion for this assessment. Then the last thing you're going to do, and I would suggest this might be in the last 15 minutes. So maybe give yourself about an hour to write your essay. The last 15 minutes, proofread, edit your essay. Does it make sense? Check your spelling and punctuation, okay? Now, I just want to also show you here, I won't go into it to too much detail because we're going to talk about this in the next lesson. But in your introduction, it might say something like this. The Bone Sparrow is a novel written by Zaina Fralin. Then you would talk about what it's about, maybe why it was written, okay, the importance of it. And you would just say that in 1 or 2 sentences. That is when you talk about the synopsis of the novel, the summary. What is it about? Then you provide your contention. So your contention, remember, is your answer to the question, okay, your statement. And then finally, in the introduction, you're going to introduce your 3 reasons, okay, they're your 3 supporting arguments that support your contention. Then you're going to write 3 body paragraphs. And each body paragraph should be 4 to 7 sentences long, and you use teal. And very quickly, we're going to go through this in another lesson. But teal is this, T for topic sentence of the paragraph. So this sentence should represent your main idea, okay, your supporting argument. The topic sentence of each paragraph should be given to give the reader a clear idea of what your essay is about. And I'll give you an example of this next week. Evidence. This will be a quote from the text or from a series of events or something about the character from the novel to support your argument in your topic sentence, okay, in your main idea. Then you give an explanation. So you actually raised an idea and provided evidence to support it, but now you need to explain it in more detail. Spend time on developing the idea so it will not be easily dismissed. So what we need is, it's great to say, yeah, friendship's important, and then you might say evidence. Well, yes, because Jimmy saved Sorry, Subi saves Jimmy. But then explain it. Talk about other things about it. So as we can see, even though this friendship was maybe unlikely, maybe there should have been other people there for her, Subi was the person to help her. And you could talk more about why that's important and why friendship is more important than money and other things in life. So you're linking it back to the main idea. And then finally, link. How does this relate to the actual topic? And that's the thing I just mentioned. You're linking it back to the main idea, relate it back to the original topic. As we said, friendship is one of the most important things in the world. It can even save our lives. And that's me connecting it back. So class, that is an overview of your assessment task. Now, how long should it be? As I said, all you're doing is writing 4 paragraphs, so an introduction and 3 body paragraphs. And like I said, about 6 to 7 sentences for the body paragraphs. So I'd like you to take some time to look over this at home with your parents or guardians. And I would like you please to use Teams to ask me any questions. So if you want to think about that today or tonight, I'd be very happy to answer them on Teams. And we can also talk about them in class next week once I get your questions. Okay, I look forward to speaking with you soon. And we are now going to get ready for our next lesson to talk about how to write an introduction.